now we're at the time where the Hamashiach is getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right. Shabbat shalom, Israel.
Gosh, Shabbat Shalom. All right.
All right. Got an awesome lesson. Go ahead and share that lesson title with us, brother.
All right. It's called The Destruction of Israel, Part 2. Integrate and separate. All right.
Integrate and separate. So y'all know. And first of all, just want to welcome everybody on. And really appreciate you all that's been hanging with us for a while now. Pray that you all are having a blessed Shabbat. Yep. All right. So you guys already on it. Y'all hear us really clear and nice. So, I got these pods on. I'm going to start using the pods whenever I do the broadcast, even for my channel. It seems like I come in a lot clearer. All right. Well, welcome, Israel. All right. Just puts me on the screen there.
All right. That's right.
Kind of let y'all know that, hey, really appreciate our brothers. Appreciate the brews. As we prepare on this journey to strive to keep these laws, commandments, and statutes so we can get up on out of here. That's what we got to do, Israel. So, I wanted to start off with, and I'm gonna read something from the scriptures because this is going to lead into the lesson, and then Brother Eitan is going to take it over, and then we'll just go back and forth from there. But, like I was saying, Israel, like we are a chosen people of the Most High. We are set above all nations on the face of the earth. All right, Deuteronomy 7:6. And with that being said, when you look at the condition of our people and how we've gone so far backwards, it's a wonder why the Most High is angry with his people. And you got to understand, man, like the first week we did the lesson, and then this week we're talking about 3 generations of this downgrading. You know what I'm saying? And Brother Eitan got some headbangers to show you tonight too, because I'm telling you, I guarantee you, there's some stuff that you probably didn't even know. So with no further delay, let's go ahead and turn to 1 Peter chapter 4. And you all a second to get there. I'll read it from the screen. You don't have to put it up if you don't want to.
Right,
2 Peter chapter 4. And let's look at verse 17. Hey, and if somebody, if y'all can do us a favor, somebody can just put the scriptures in the comments so that way, the rest of the brews can catch it. So that's going to be 1 Peter 4 and verse 17. It says, "For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Elohim." What does that mean? All right. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Elohim. And that speaks volume on our responsibilities. Why? Because if we're the chosen of the Most High, why aren't we acting like it? All right. And it says, "And if it first began at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the Basora of Elohim?" Or that's the word of Elohim. I'm reading from the Sefer. So Israel, we got a lot of work to do. And, time is pressing. And our people, it's like collectively are becoming more and more wicked. And you're going to see how downgrade really started to take a hold of our people, what led to the down spiral. So, Brother Eitan, go ahead, brother.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom. Let me see what I got here. All right, let's well, all right. Well, we titled the lesson, Brother Daniel, integrate to separate, right? Now, if we want to look back at the let me bring this up real quick. Right? If you want to give them a recap of next week, of last week, what we did, if you want to give them a recap and what we left off at.
Mm-hmm. So basically last week, y'all, we were talking about how financially well off our people were when we first came out of slavery, how we were able to just have so much resiliency and everything. So we're talking about like, between the time frame of 1890, the late 1800s to the early 1940s, all right, when our people were really, really solid, when the marriage rate was up by like 96% in the so-called Israelite community, and it was even higher than the heathens rate, believe it or not. And we only make up like 13 point something percent, and it's less than that now because with our numbers dwindling because we're mixing with the heathens and everything. So that's kind of a synopsis of what we talked about last night. I mean, not last night, but last week, Salakia, and to kind of give you a rundown of how the grade kind of started to happen. So, Brother Aton is going to bring out some stuff. We're going to talk about a little bit about welfare and kind of how that started and how that kind of got our people on a downward spiral. And what's sad about it is that, our own people are the main culprits that always lead out in that stuff. All right. Uh, just like with the whole COVID thing, it was our people that was like leading the realm in that they were getting celebrities and all kinds of people to get our people to take that stuff. So just make a note that, and even in the future, that anytime the heathens want to get to us, they always use our own people.
All right. Well, before we start the lesson, I want to address one thing. I saw a comment. I just wanted to address. It said Shabbat Shalom, Brother Daniel and Brother Aitan Shalom family. Tuning in one. I had to bury my dad today, and the Most High gave me so much strength. Ready for the lesson. Hey, sister, you will be in our prayers. Well, away from us, but present with the Lord. Right. Let's everybody, let's just make sure everybody keep her, daughter of Israel. Y'all keep her in your prayers, right? That the Most High will provide her with enough strength, right, to make it on through.
Our condolences to you, sister.
Khan, our condolences. All right. So just like we left off last week, like Brother Daniel was saying, right? We started the civil rights movement, right? And during the civil rights movement, we see on a scale that is from 1950 to around 1970-ish, right? A little bit further on. Right. And during this time, right, and on down, I guess, to the 1990s, I guess we're going to cover up to maybe about the year 2000, right? 1960, 1950 to maybe the year 2000, right? A good 50 years, right? So during the civil rights movement and during the middle time of it, right, we had a situation where they wanted us to integrate, right? The reason being is because, right, following the Great Depression, right, they had lost all their money, right? After slavery was over, they was running out of money, right, for what all the slaves made in the cotton gins and the cotton fields and, doing all this for them just for free, right? And if we didn't do what they say, we get our backs beat in. So, and we move up through the Great Depression, right, when they're losing all their money and they don't have anything, and they're like, you know what? We got to find a way. We have to mastermind a way to get these niggas back up under us, right? We got to mastermind a way to get these ex-slaves now free on the loose, because you can already see that they never ever intended to give us equality, right? Never, right? And then why should we want equality anyway when we're better, right? In every aspect, right? So from then on, right, we see how from the Great Depression, we rose up into the civil rights movement, which was a plea, right? A plea that was led by various groups, by various groups, right, on different, the different things as far as like discrimination, racism, and white supremacy, right? The civil rights movement, those were like the primary causes for the uprising of that, right? And one of the people that we had that was a big mover of the civil rights movement was Miss Looper, right? Now notice that what they do, they go after, right? They go after our they go after the women. Now Miss Clara Looper here, right? Which was let me see something real quick. Let me see if I can blow this up. All right. Miss boom, right? Okay. Miss Clara Looper right here, right? Looking like she off of good times, right? She right, she's from she's from Oklahoma. It says let's read about her a little bit, right? Let's read about it. It says Looper, Clara Shepherd, right? Clara Shepherd Looper, right? Now she was married twice, right? The Looper is the last name of her first husband, right? Who she divorced, right? Because I don't know. I'm just I don't know why they divorced, right? But I'm guessing it has something to do with her being like one of these sit-ins. You know, like sit-ins is when our people go to these white restaurants and they would sit in there and then want to be fed by the white man. You know, want to eat the bland chicken, right? Wanted to eat the saying the kangaroo burgers and the possum meat, right? That's what they wanted to do back in those days, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know why our people wanted to do that, but it just seemed to be what it was. So it says the educator and civil rights leader, Clara Shepherd Looper, was born on May 3rd, 1923, of Oskoski County, Oklahoma, the daughter of Ezel and Isabella Shepherd, right? She's born 1923, right? She married Charles P. Wilson and had three children, Calvin, Marilyn, Looper, Hedrick, and Chanel. In 1944, Looper received a bachelor's degree from Langston University. She later attained a master's degree from the University of Oklahoma in 1951, right? And was the first African American admitted to the graduate history program in the University of Oklahoma. Now, this is all great strides for women, I guess, right? But what I want you to really, what I want you to look at is that for this to happen, there has to be a white man behind the scenes somewhere. There has to be a heathen behind the scene somewhere saying yes to this situation, right? You know what I'm saying? Like these things don't happen, if they don't want it to happen. That's just the bottom line, right?
Yeah. Hey, I want to interject with that because you said something. So you touched on it earlier that when we were doing well, especially during the Great Depression, they started to fall off and everything. So they had to get us back under their control. Why? Because they know that we are their biggest competitors, and this is the reason why they bombed so-called Black Wall Street because they knew, but they didn't tell you that Black Wall Street rebuilt. So that's that point that Brother Aton making it so important. The reason why these heathens are doing what they're doing today.
Oh, that was it, brother?
Yep, that was it.
All right, Khan. Right. So it says, she received a bachelor's degree from Langston University. She later attained a master's degree from the University of Oklahoma in 1951. It was the first African American admitted to the graduate history program in the University of Oklahoma. Right. These are all things that the heathen, our oppressor, had let happen. Right. You got to realize now, in the beginning, they were. Now this is in Oklahoma too, right? These South states where the Confederates were. Right, and these folks were always opposed, right, to letting us go free. Right, they didn't want us to run around and do what we're doing right now. They always wanted their foot on our neck. Right, so this is pretty much I see like a scheme. Right, you know what I'm saying, some kind of evil scheme. You know what I'm saying, that these folks got to try to make us come to us. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty much what we've done, we've run away from the wolf into the arms of the fox, right? You know what I'm saying? And then we don't even know any better. Look at him, cheesing right there, right? Cheesing, like these are the same ancestors. This white man is the same man that would teach the same God that said to beat your slaves, right? These are all the same folks, but okay, you got one man in the back, a brother right there in the back, your brother right there, he in the back, but you don't got no brothers in the forefront. Right now, if you remember when we had read a few weeks ago dealing with the Willie Lynch letter, right? The Willie Lynch letter had in detail laid out a plan to do this, right? To sit the back man, to sit the brother in the back, right, and then to put the woman in the forefront, to cause a dissension, right, in the family unit, right? Because we still had prior. I mean, like during this time right here, we still had strong black marriages in 1951. Right, but after this time, right, we'll see that it starts to change a little later as I bring on another article, right? But let's finish reading about the sister, right? It says, Oklahoma 1951 was the first African American admitted to the graduate history program in the University of Oklahoma. Looper taught history and public relations at Dungee High School in Spencer, Oklahoma, at John Marshall Classen High Schools in Oklahoma City, while teaching, Looper wrote, directly, and produced Brother President, a play based on the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Right now, this is another picture of her right here, and I guess that's her. She leading her second husband by the nose, right? So this is crazy, right? Because she still didn't change her last name, right? So even though she married this, she married this dude that's supposed to be her second husband, even though if you know in the scriptures, that's not the second husband, right? That's just a relationship in fornication, right? So it says Looper became the advisor of the Oklahoma City National Association for the advancement of colored people, right? NAACP. Youth Council in 1952. The following year, the Youth Council decided to stage a sit-in, right, at Oklahoma City's Cat's Drugstore, right? A sit-in at the Oklahoma City Cat's Drugstore on August 19th, 1958. Walking into the store and ordering Cokes, the youth, under Looper's guidance, demonstrated their discontent with segregation and launched the nation's sit-in movement, right? Launched the nation's sit-in movement. All right, man, we didn't want to sit in with these heathen, man. We wanted our own establishments. Right?
That's right.
It says the Youth Council continued to conduct sit-ins throughout the early 1960s, helping to end segregation and public accommodations in Oklahoma. Right? Now, it may appear that, this is something that was accomplished, but we don't even understand that this is the plot of the heathen, right? This is what they want to happen. They want us to pretend like we're on a fake struggle, right? To get some kind of equality from them, right? Saying this, that, and the third, but all the while they want us, right, to be integrated with them. In order for us to be integrated with them, right, the next move in their playbook is to separate us, right? Because the civil rights movement in turn was a whole movement to do what it was to it was to do what the ending of segregation allowed whites, African Americans, and all races to be together, whether it's like schools, buses, movie theaters, wherever it was, right? It allowed all of us, right, to be together, and this is what they wanted, right? Because then guess what, y'all not off in your own town building your own cities and building your own inventions and patenting everything, right? Anything that y'all niggas think of, right, we're gonna have a hand in it, right?
And it's interesting you say that, because what is the biggest thing about integration? What is the number one thing that it stops you from doing? It stops you from being self-sufficient, independent. Because when you integrate, when our people were led to integrate with the heathens, you see how the Israelite-owned businesses started to go away. Everything started to fade away. People started selling out. Y'all remember Johnson and Johnson? Johnson and Johnson is was a black-owned hair product company, one of the biggest. Yeah, they were bought out by some heathen. No, but that goes to tell you, it goes to show you that anytime you integrate with these people, we lose our credibility. We lose everything. And that's exactly what happened with our people. And now we got to share everything. Now, take that back. Now we got to beg just to get a job from these people. That's sad. But that's where we at. All right, go ahead, bro.
So just to further on what I was saying earlier, just to say, it says she began her teaching career in 1948 and taught history at Oklahoma City high schools for more than 40 years. Her first marriage to Bert Looper ended in divorce. Her second husband, Charles P. Wilson, died in 2010. All right. So I would just, this is one of those, this is also probably the beginning of the strong black woman type of nonsense. Right. All right. Let me go to this article real quick. Right. This is the main thing that I just really wanted to focus on, just showing you just in statistics and how studies have proven, right, that that the breakdown has happened. All right. Brother Danny, can you see that pretty good?
I can see it.
All right, God, all praises.
Making sure y'all can see it pretty good. Are y'all able to see it pretty good out there in the comment section?
see if I can. I'm gonna plug this up real quick. Let me see if all right. All right. It says family structure and poverty, right? You know what I'm saying? Like this is just the basic dynamics on how a society works, right? On like what kind of dynamics in the home, you know what I'm saying? Fathers like, fathers, if you're married or not, things of this nature. What will what are the building blocks for a successful for a successful community? It says family structure and poverty, right? It says first family breakdown, right? It says first family breakdown fuels poverty, right? So like the breakdown of the family is a direct cause of poor people, right? It says on average, even high school dropouts who are married have a far lower poverty rate. So that means that even if you're undereducated, right? Dumb according to the so-called white man or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to deal with his education or
That's right.
you know what I'm saying, or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It says here that even if you're on that, you have a better chance at getting money and surviving at a far lower poverty rate than you have a one-parent household, like the breakdown of a family unit, right? It says, so on average, even high school dropouts who are married have a far lower poverty rate than do single parents with several years of college. So you can even be college educated, right? You can even be college educated and still not do good as married people, right? This is proof, right? Because as you see, when we were when we were doing our thing, right, after slavery, right, after slavery had came through and we were doing our thing, what did you see from us, right? You saw that our people, right, Slovakia, right, you see that our people that we were trying to, our people, we were doing everything that we needed without college, without college educations, right? We were still building cities, building banks, building inventions, saying things of this nature, trying to build up our city without, without the white man's education, right? But guess what? We were married, right? Let's see. On that, let me see. We were married at a 90% rate, I believe, right?
It was really high.
Yeah, con. Hold on, where's that thing at? Okay, boom, right? So it says, but family structure has the biggest impact on children, right? According to Raj, the preeminent researcher on the topic of social mobility, having fathers in the neighborhood is a primary factor in predicting upward income mobility for the children in that neighborhood later in life. Even when controlling, right? It says, even when controlling for other variables such as the available schools, race, or ethnicity. Put this thing up. Slocky. Give me a second here. I gotta get this stupid thing to start over here.
Hey, while he's putting that up on the screen and everything too, I just want to just constantly just remind you all too what we up against, the enemies that we're dealing with, because like the scripture says, we shall be hated among all nations. When it says all nations, it means all nations. All right, Israel. So, our people don't even take that into account. And you look how our people are constantly trying to, like, if you notice, you see how our people be trying to force themselves on them all the time. Like, for example, there was a video that somebody sent me, and it was this brother and he's married to a sister, another Israelite, but they live in this prestigious white neighborhood. It has a lake, so apparently they keep getting a police called on them, because people don't, think they live there. So stuff like that. Why would you integrate yourself with those people? Why not create your own community and be separate? You don't have people that look like you with afros and everything running around instead of trying to inject yourself amongst these people. Just can't happen. Something has to change. But that's exactly what the heathens have determined to do, is to keep us in this state of integrated mindset. They don't want us to think apart from them. They don't want us to have our own. They don't want us to have our own black utopia, because they know that if we do that, then it's over for them.
all the way over. They don't want us to have
Yep.
nothing, right?
Nope.
For hard times and to be happy with it, right? Deuteronomy 28,
That's right.
right? The scripture says
Right.
that that they're gonna destroy us until even when they take the chains off, we're gonna be destroyed, right down to the mental, right? All right. So it says, family structure, Slovakia. In part, that's because family structure on this, we're right here, right? In part, that's because family structure influences the choices that children will make, right? It says because family structure influences the choices that children will make. Controlling for race and parental income, boys raised without their father are much more likely to use drugs, engage in violent or criminal behavior, go to jail, and drop out of school. Girls, meanwhile, are more likely to engage in early sexual activity or have a child out of wedlock. Children without a father in the home are even more likely to suffer from mental health problems as adults. Right? I want to bring on a scripture real quick. Right?
Yeah.
Iraq 30.
And while you bring that up, that's a serious note when you think about it. You look at throughout the Torah, it was just common. All right. The mother, the father, and the mother was always in the picture. The father was always in the picture, no matter what. All right. If the woman left, she left with nothing. So they totally hijacked our heritage.
Right? So Sirach 30, right? 3 and 4, Ecclesiasticus, right? It says, he that teaches his son grieveth the enemy. And before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he as though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself. Right? While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. Right? This is why they want the family unit broken down in the black neighborhoods. If you don't have a father in the home to instill discipline, right? To instill discipline, what's going to happen? You're not going to have somebody that's going to raise up, that's going to still have your same values. You're not going to have that, right? You're not going to have someone that's going to raise up and understand that your forefathers in the race before you and the generation before you was beat down and there's no justice has been done for that, right? They want us to be integrated, then they want us to be separated so they can have better control. You know what I'm saying? Divide and conquer. I know y'all heard that, man. That's a classic war tactic. I mean, like we are literal, right? Our people were slaves. They know for a fact they're always looking over their shoulder at us because at any moment we can become their enemies. They're not stupid, right? They know that they used to beat our people. They used to murder our people. They used to rape our people, right? It says children without a father in the home are even more likely to suffer from mental health problems as adults. Roy and John's book, Willpower, details a psychology test where children, now listen to this, right? This is important, right? Because this is what I'm talking about when Israel, we always want what's now instead of want what's later, right? Because that's the way the kingdom works. If we do it now, we dwell in the wickedness. We have to be patient, right? We have to be patient and endure, like the scriptures say, right? It says the book Willpower details a psychology test where children can either receive a small prize right away or receive a larger, more valuable prize 10 days later, right? If they forego the smaller prize. In mass, right? It says in mass, that means most of them, right? 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Children without a father in the home settled for the initial prize. Why? Let's break that down. Why do you think that the children without the father in the home is settled for the initial prize? Without logic, discipline, and structure, the children are only around emotions.
That's right.
So the first thing they're going to do is think what they first see. And they're going to be emotional without being able to do what? Be a critical thinker.
That creates an unbalance, and then you have mental imbalance, and this is why you see a lot of brothers today who are just so emotional, you know, and
Con,
it just they can't think mentally through their problems. That's why you see all these gang violence, brothers out there shooting one another because they cannot handle mentally and deal with the issues. The only way they can deal with it is through emotions.
con. All right. It says, in mass, children without a father in the home settled for the additional prize, while children with a father in the home were more willing to wait for the larger prize. Right? Research by David and David studied and rejected the idea that these effects are mainly due to dangerous neighborhoods or poor schools. They concluded that neighborhoods and schools are less important than direct effect of family structure itself, right? Which is why they was doing the test. You know what I'm saying? Which is another reason why they had did the test, right? It says family breakdown is class based, right? It says family breakdown is extremely important if we care about a child's social mobility. Now I want y'all to understand while I'm reading this, right? Because this is what this is what the civil rights movement does, right?
Hmm.
They integrated us. Once they integrated us, right? If we look at the scale, right? Let me see. Let me go back and show you, and I'll show you guys something real quick, right? Right? Do the boom right here, right? After the civil rights movement, during the civil rights movement, right, and shortly after, what happens right here, right? We got slavery back at it again. Look how look how it skyrockets, right? We're going to prison. Black men are going to prison, but also at the same time, increase of never married black men continue despite of increase of incarceration. Right, man, they're doing their damn job. They are winning, right?
Mhm.
So look, right, boom. Look at this right here. Black men more likely to be married than white men. Look at this. They're winning, right? They are winning. It says black women more likely to be married than white women, right? Now, right? This is where we are today, 2001. But during this time, right? Now, right now, we're gonna touch on this when we're dealing with the third generation, right? But I want y'all to see that at the very end, right, where we are, like sort of like now, and we have a huge divide right now between for some reason the women and the men, right, which are doing a great breakdown of the family unit to destroy Israel. Look how that is spreading apart instead of getting closer together, right? It's spreading apart and getting closer together, right? You know what I'm saying? The marriages are going down as we see on the scale, and also it just looks like we're just straying from each other, right? 85% of us are not married to our own people. Now, I mean, are married to our own people. 93% of us are married to our own people, but it's getting, it's getting bigger, right? The scales are getting bigger, right? As far as like the divide for the men, for the women and the men. All right, hold up, boom, boom. All right. It says family breakdowns is extremely important if we care about a child's social mobility, right? The child does best with married parents, right? The average child does best with married parents, and more specifically, with their biological father residing in their home. More specifically, with their biological father residing in their home. That means no damn stepdaddies, right? That's wicked and
Facts. I
right?
know exactly.
Adultery, right? You know what I'm saying? Adulterous if you have stepdaddies, or so adulterer if you're a man and you're over there with a woman and she has other children, right? You're gonna get put to the lake of fire when it's over with. I promise you that. It says, yet America's poor children have relatively few involved or present fathers. That's because the vast majority of America's overall marriage decline is concentrated among poor and working class Americans, niggas, right? Our people. All right, we're the poor and we're the working class Americans still, right? That's not a surprise. Leading to the marriage divide, right? Because this is what they want,
Hmm.
right?
That's
This
right.
is why they will pass bills to say that anti-Semitism is, you can't say anything bad against, these Jewish people, right? but they're not going to say anything about people calling you a nigga. I mean, so with the hard R, saying or just being racist as hell to you, right? They're not going to say anything about, oh man, because they don't give a damn about you, right? They want you, right? They always want you to be in the working class, right? They always want you to pack up the prisons, right? Because each prisoner, right, the government gets a grant, they get the slave ship moving again, right? So now we got a poor, right? 26, 39, and 56, right? It says, as marriage rates fractured among America's poor and working class, the institution has remained resilient among America's better off who still marry at rates similar to those 50 years ago, right? The heathens. And the collapse of marriage among the working class has coincided with a sharp increase in and out of wedlock births, often to cohabitating parents, because people see marriage as ideal but unattainable, yet still to desire children. Now, one thing that these heathen, what they've done to try to incentivize us, right? Incentivize us with tricks, and schemes to make us separate from one another is welfare, right? Like welfare is one of the main things, Daddy. The white man, hey, you know what? We're gonna get their women to depend on us, right? We're gonna make them, hey, you know what? You gotta get the black man out the home. You're gonna raise these little niggas up, and we're gonna pay you. Don't worry about it. We're gonna pay you.
What's so crazy about welfare? Oh, go ahead, brother.
No. Go ahead. No, you good up.
You know what's so crazy about welfare was the fact that it was when it was first started in the early 1930s, late 1920s. It was designed for white families to help them to get ahead because of the Great Depression. They didn't kick their fathers out the home; they gave them assistance with their fathers in the home.
Facts.
But they use that against us, though, our people, to destroy us. Yep.
Bring it out. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they definitely did not allow them. Yep, that's 100% true.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called. It was called some kind of assistance, something like that. And it was to help white families, who suffer from depression to get ahead.
Let me see. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah. To type in it was I can't think of that guy's name.
The welfare started.
Yeah.
All right, well,
it was like the late 20s or the early 30s.
Yeah, that's it. 1935. Roosevelt. It said he backed the idea for federal aid for poor children and other dependent persons. By 1935, a national welfare system had been established for the first time in American history. All right. Yeah, they were using it, for white folks in the beginning, right? So just like Brother Daniel said, during that time, right, to help them out from the Great Depression. So it says, where was I at? All right. Welfare may have played a role, right? It is important to realize that things weren't always so, right? The black family provides a stark example. Now, all of a sudden, they own us now, right? Because before they were talking about all America, but now they're, oh, okay. I don't know what that was. I heard something in the background. Slovakia, right? But now all of a sudden, right? Now they're talking about us specifically, right? They're talking about our people, Israelites, right? The Hebrews. It says from 1890 to 1950, right? We're just talking about a girl, right? The civil rights movement we started up, right? Black women had a higher marriage rate than white women. And in 1950, just 9% of black children lived without their father. By 1960, the marriage rate had declined, but remained close to white marriage rate. Right? In other words, despite open racism and widespread poverty, strong black families used to be the norm. Said used to be the norm. Right? But by the mid 1980s, black fatherlessness skyrocketed. It said skyrocketed. Right? That was when, right? Coming out of the civil rights movement into Reagan and all them folks, right? The war on drugs and all of that good stuff. This is perfect, right? The heathens, man, they have a diabolical plan, right? Evil, wickedness, only blackness in their heart to get you. Now I'm just saying. Now I'm not saying that but the majority of them as a whole, right? You can't trust them. The scripture says don't trust them, right? If you got 100 snakes in a barrel, and and you got 5 poisonous ones, so one of them, are you gonna stick your hand in that barrel of snakes? No, right? Leave them alone all the way. It says today only 44% of black children have a father in the home, right? 44%.
What year is that based off? That percent? Does it say?
It says today. You know what I'm saying? This is an
Mm.
article. Let me see. When was this
Mm.
written? Let's scroll down. Oh, let me see to the date. Usually I'll scroll
I'm
up it up
curious.
in a minute.
No,
Okay.
it's okay. Yeah, yeah. Because sometimes they normally like 5 years off and everything, and then they redo them every like 5 years, something like that.
Oh, con. Let me see. What was that?
But
44% of black children have a father in the home, right? In unison, the rate of black out of wedlock births went from 24.5% in 1964 to 70.7%
damn,
by 1994. From 64 to
man.
94, right? 30 years. 30 years these heathens, right? Have had man, are you kidding me, man? That's damn near 300% raise.
Hey, that's like a state of emergency for us, man. That's just unprecedented.
That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
wild right there, right? These heathens.
Mm.
And when did this happen? You got to realize when we look back at the chart, right? When we look back at the chart, right, we see that during this time, right, it was right at this, you know what I'm saying? It was right during the civil rights movement, was ended in 1970, right? And it carried on. I mean, like right after that, like you gotta imagine, right? The civil rights movement happened right after the night, you know what I'm saying, and it ended around the 1970 when we were all starting to get
Mhm.
equal rights and all this other stuff. But by this time, this kind of mentality has set in, right? Because once the mentality has set in, it started to fester, you know what I'm saying, like an evil
That's right.
spirit, right? Like an unclean spirit, festering to the point that now, look at it right here, right? From 64 to 1994, 70%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly where it stands today. And we know what? It's up today. It's higher than 70, and it's up today, right? It's
What was
up.
that? You said 20. It was like 20-something% now to like 77. Damn, that's high. That's like ridiculous.
That's common. That's a ridiculous amount right there, man. That's what, right?
In
Rough,
in that short amount of time, man. That's like, man, that's crazy.
con. Roughly where it stands today, right? It says one contributor to family breakdown, which soon spread to the poor and working class white family, may have been welfare expansion, right? Cash welfare in meager form exists since 1935, and some welfare expansion took place during the Kennedy administration. But under Johnson's Great Society, which began in 1964, benefits became substantially more generous and came under greater control of the federal government. Oh, that's them boys, right? The feds,
Hmm.
right? In the words of Harvard's Paul Peterson, some programs actively discourage marriage because welfare assistance went to mothers so
Mm.
long as no male was boarding in the household. Marriage to an unemployed male, right? Marriage to an unemployed male, even one earning the minimum wage, placed at risk a mother's economic well being. Infamous man in the house rules meant that welfare workers would randomly appear in homes to check and see if the mother was accurately reporting her family status. Damn. Right. It says the benefits available were extremely generous, according to Peterson. It was estimated that in 1975, a household head would have to earn 20,000 a year to have more resources that could be obtained from the Great Society programs. In today's dollars, that's over $90,000 per year in earnings, right?
Mm-hmm.
90,000, right? That may be a reason why in 1964 only 7% of American children were born out of wedlock compared to 40% today, right? Because back in those days, right, the money was worth more, right? Which is the equivalent, like dude said, back at 20,000 back in those days is worth 90,000 today. 7% of American children were born out of wedlock compared to 40% today. As Jason has noted, the government paid mothers to keep fathers out of the home and paid them well. Now, you got to remember now, like I said in the beginning, they're telling you without really telling you that the low income housing, the poor people, things of that nature, this is what it affected the working class citizens. Who are who? Who are us? We've always been a working class citizen since the very fucking beginning. I mean, Slovakia, since the very beginning, right? We've always been the working class citizens. I mean, so much so that in the scriptures, man, they ask, are we a homeborn slave? Right? They ask, hey, man, are we a homeborn slave? And this all we're supposed to do is work for these heathen? Right? Ezra didn't, you know what I'm saying? Ezra was asking, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, he was really wanting to know. Right? So identifying welfare as a contributor, along with shifts in the labor market and deindustrialization, explains why fatherlessness has spread as it has. For example, racial differences in marriage rates may be largely due to racial income disparities, which lead to stiffer marriage penalties for Black adults. And today, Salaki, go ahead. Go bring it up.
You gotta understand, this is all strategic too. This ain't us that just decided to say, hey, we're gonna make this, we're gonna bring this percent up. No, this was strategically planned by the heathens, and our people fell for it. Go ahead, that's all I want to say.
It's like Eve eating the apple, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing, right? They, the doggone serpent in the garden, he didn't try to, he didn't try Adam with that, because if you got to look at it, right, just really look at it, right? I would expect a person, they might view a situation and they think that, this isn't fair, right? I don't know why I'm not in the same position that this guy is in, or I don't have the same rights and liberties as this person may feel, right? So I feel that I should be able to make decisions on my own, or, from time to time, that shouldn't be a problem or something like that, even though that's not how it is really, right? It's the same situation, right? If you get tempted with something that seems that, you're going to come up or you're going to have a better outcome, right? You're going to take it, even though sometimes it may not be good for you, right? It's like a child, right? A child, they'll eat as much ice cream as their eyes can see, right? Only to have that, diarrhea, right? And be sick on the stomach later on, right? It's the same situation, right? It may look good and initially it may go down smooth, taste nice and sugary, and all of this good stuff, right? But on the end result, you're going to get sick. And this is the situation that we're seeing right now in our community, right? The Israelites, we're sick, right? We are sick. It says,
core,
right? For example, racial differences in marriages results may largely due to racial income disparities, which lead to stiffer marriage penalties for Black adults. And today, many means-tested programs reach the working class and lower middle class, which corresponds with a decline in marriage among these groups, which are us. Again, in today's America, 4 in 10 families with children receive support from at least one means-tested transfer program. These government-assisted programs, in other words. One study found that almost a third of Americans said that they personally know someone who chose not to marry due to the fear of losing a benefit. Let me see. I don't really care about that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that out pretty much. I read that post and I was like, man, this right here is really accurate, as far as what we're going through as a people.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. And just with brother bringing out all these stats and everything, this should bring chills down our spines seeing this. Because when you look at us collectively, sure, you got some brothers and sisters that are doing well for themselves, but what do they control? Do they have companies where they can hire anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 Israelites? Absolutely not. Even though they may be doctors and lawyers, guess what? They still working for a heathen firm. They're still working for their enemies. So think about it. They can let them go at any time and decide not to hire them. I know folks that got master's degrees, doctor's degrees, and can't find a job. But that goes to show you that we're living under in their world because we failed to create our own, be
Con,
separate, like 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 Malcolm X was trying to get us to do.
con, right? Got stuff going on like civil disobedience, nonviolent
Yeah,
resistance, marches, protests, boycotts,
yeah,
freedom rides, rallies, the whole
yeah,
nine, right?
yeah, yeah. Other than him following Islam, Malcolm X was pretty much following the scriptures on separation.
Con, that's right. Meanwhile, what we had, that just brings up another something, right? We noticed that when we did have these, these so-called black leaders will come in, right, and
Hmm.
try to, you know, help raise us out of the dunghill. These heathens, they would infiltrate, right? They would infiltrate, and then, they would murder our people, right? They murdered Malcolm X and they murdered Martin Luther King. Right. The reason why they murdered Martin Luther King, if you listen closely to his last speech, right, he recognizes that integration was a mistake.
Hmm.
Right. Civil rights movement was a mistake. Right. Trying to get along with these heathens is a mistake. That we need to, you know, it'll be different if we had our own nation, our own setup and stuff like that, and then we had delegates and stuff like that that would go out and deal with other nations. Right. Hey man, then we that wouldn't be a problem at all. Right. But that's not what we have. Right. We don't have any delegates. Right. We don't have any power. We don't have nothing of our own, which is why these heathen chose integration rather than separation. Right. You know what I'm saying? Look, of course, a couple of them, who didn't know no better, said they were fighting it. That's what it mean. That's why it seemed like a real issue. Right. This is the think tank they got going on. These heathens in the back rooms, right? In the dark rooms, and right, conjuring up spirits, you know what I'm saying? And they're telling them, what to do. Hey, hey, this is what we need to do right here, right? 30-year plan. 30-year plan. We need to get them back in here. Right?
Mm.
Once we get them back in there, we're going to create a thing called the civil rights movement. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to act like that we don't want them, because guess what? Some of the nation, they're not going to want them, but they don't know how bad we are. They don't have to
Yep.
deal with the Great Depression. They didn't have to deal with our pockets being dry. They didn't have to deal with the factories, all of the stuff that these niggas used to run for free. They didn't have to deal with this. Now we had to come up with our pockets. Now we got to do our own stuff. No, we can't do this. Meanwhile, we got these same niggas on our land. They over here. We got to find a way to get them back with us again. Right? So they're going to come up with a plan
Yep.
called civil rights.
Yep. Because they knew we were super resilient. Look how much we people accomplished. Right, shortly after slavery, Black Wall Street and Tulsa, Oklahoma was not the only place. We had them all through the Midwest. And even after they burnt it down, we rebuilt it right back up again. But they don't tell that part. See, they leave that part from the late 20s all the way to the early 50s. They leave that part out about these Black Wall Streets because they don't want you to know. They want our people to be in total ignorance.
God, that
And
should be.
again, yeah, that just tells you how resilient we are as a people to be able to use very little tools, but to build a structured society that's like 10 times better than the heathens with
God,
just a few tools. I mean, with just very little tools. And the heathens, they got all this stuff, they got all this machinery they can do, but yet here we are. We have very little tools, and you give us the opportunity, boy, we can build a nation.
they don't want that.
Yep.
They can't do it without us. That was their fear, right? Of us being better than them and in some kind of way putting them back, putting them in bondage and captivity.
Yeah. Which is going to happen because Scripture says he that leads in captivity shall go in captivity. In Isaiah, I think it was
Oh,
11. One of those said that we're
no,
going to put them. Yeah. What's
no,
that?
Revelation.
Yeah,
Nah,
but Isaiah also,
oh God,
Isaiah also says that we're going to take them. The Most High is going to love Jacob, and we're going to take them to our places,
that's right.
make them servants and slaves. So,
Take
so
them,
that's coming too. Yep,
man.
that's right.
I don't know, Israel. It's just diabolical the way these heathens are, right? Just simply
Mhm.
diabolical. Taking us, made up some kind of movement to try to get us integrated, right? Using all while the Willie Lynch letter, right? The way that they've, how the doggone forced us to bend us to our will to cause controversy within the home, right? Let's go ahead and let's do this. As soon as they started implementing welfare and things of this nature, right? We got the rise of single mothers on the on the rise, right? No
Mm-mm-mm.
fathers in the home, right? No discipline, right? Just like we brought out in Sirach 30, right? Sirach 30 says what? If the father isn't in the home to raise up the sons, right? How is he going to know who his enemy is? How he's going to know what the situation is going on, right? We saw that in an experiment that the children with the fathers in the home, when receiving a prize, that they would rather wait 10 days and get a greater prize than the children that didn't have a father in the home. They wanted to get the lesser prize right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's monkey brain mentality, right? That's monkey brain mentality. Ooh, I see the banana. I want to see the banana. I want to just jump right at it.
Mm.
Israel,
It's a mess. It's a mess.
we didn't. This lesson wasn't going to be too long for tonight. We had about, I said that we're going to be on with an hour. I know, brother Daniel, he's 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 got he's a little bit jet lagged from where he's been at.
Mm-hmm.
If we have any questions, Israel, if you got any questions, please go ahead and post them in the comment board. I'm gonna turn it over to brother Daniel.
All right, Israel. Yeah. So go ahead and compose if you got any questions related to the lesson. If not, we're gonna enjoy the Shabbat here. Rest up. I'm currently in Wisconsin, so I'll be here for about my contract. I'll be here for about a couple of weeks and some change. So time's a little different and everything. So hey, but Israel, just look, go back and go through the lesson and everything, and just we when we look at our situation and everything, we pretty much created it by our decisions. Cause and effect. And I think somebody sent me an email. It was one of my subscribers, and she was referring to like how bad it's getting in these inner cities, in these hoods. Because throughout the U.S. you have hoods, and throughout those hoods, guess what's happening? Our people are killing one another and getting violence. Like brother brought up before, what is this as a result of? This is a result of 77% of Israelite babies being born to single mothers. All right, they're being raised by single mothers. So what do you expect when they grow up? They're gonna have emotions. It's gonna get worse, Israel. We ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, like when you look at the so-called the effeminate
Please don't say
nature of our brothers and everything. Just imagine the next 10 years from now. If you think it's bad now, just imagine the next 10 years from now and the emotional aptitude that's going to be displayed. It's going to be unprecedented, you know. So she getting back to what she said. She says, seeing our brothers killing one another. What do we do? Well, I wrote back and I'm like, okay, well, this is what you call cause and effect. Whenever you go against the grain, whenever you go against the Most High's institution, guess what? You're going to have disaster. You're going to have destruction. You're going to have chaos. And that's what's going on with our people right now. We're just in the midst of, our people are just complete chaos because we are out of order. Point simple. And so the only way to fix that is to let it bleed out. When something is so bad, you don't, it's something that you can't fix. You got to let it just bleed out. Let it bleed out and let it purify. That's why the Most High says that He's going to take us to the fire, take us to the gold as we find in fire. What happens? What happens when you put gold through fire? It burns all the it burns all the filth, all the corruption, all that stuff. But the gold always remains pure. So a lot of our people are going to have to perish in that process. It is what it is. So just think about that. I'll leave with that note. But we're seeing things happening the way they're supposed to happen, and the Most High is really doing His thing. So again, like the verse I read in First Peter, and judgment will begin at the house of the Most High, because why? We are the chosen people. So that means that we are being held to the highest responsibility.
Con.
Point blank.
We're gonna keep on getting beat down until we get right, Israel. Right?
Yep. Yep. And so for those of you who think talking about deliverance without obedience, now you want to Israel, you start working out your faith with salvation and working out your salvation with fear and trembling.
They don't want us to
And
come
do the
together.
better. No.
Right? That's just the thing we're just gonna have to realize. They don't want us to come together. Apart, we are not going to make it. It's statistically proven that
Yep.
separated, we're not going to make it, Israel.
And if our women our people keep going on the path that they're going on, this single motherhood stuff, I don't need no man, I can raise my children by myself, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. And you think the shootings are bad now in these hoods. Oh, you just like I said, you just wait 10 years from now. Or even longer.
It's going to get worse, boy. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yep. You know, our people it's getting so bad that so many of our people are turning to a life of crime. You know, just no thought for nothing, you know. And you know why? Because that's not even necessary. If we'd have just kept the commandments, we'd have had our own stuff. Because keeping the commandments, you know for sure that we have to be separate. We cannot be integrated with other heathen nations. So they take away the commandments, they take away our ability to perform. And once you take away our ability to perform, guess what? You divide and conquer.
We got to fight this. We got to fight this, Israel.
Yep.
We can't succumb to the carrot on the stick. Right.
That's right. That's why we got to rise above. That's why me and Brother Eitan always harp on keeping the commandments. Why? Because that is going to be the key to rise up above this depression, to rise up above this whole thing that they got us under. Because they know that as long as they can get us to break the commandments and just disregard the commandments, we're going to continue to be slaves. Our people are going to continue to be oppressed.
So,
just think about that for a minute. But other than that, Israel, I don't see any questions. I don't know if you see any questions out there in the comment section, Brother Eitan.
I'm looking. I don't see nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Israel, we're gonna bid you. But you had something? Oh,
nah. That's us right now, Israel. That's the
Yep.
hamster on the wheel. That's us. That's how they got us right now.
Spinning.
Just spinning. Just looking extra dumb. That's how they got us, Israel.
Can you imagine? It's just like that. You can imagine doing the same thing over and over and over and over like that. And it's like you would think that would get old with our people.